Yo, what's going on, you guys? Your boy Ben Mahari here, represent Mahari Nation Sports Podcast. I hope y'all been having a good afternoon so far. Y'all been, taking care of yourselves and staying healthy out there. Let's get down to the business at hand here, guys. So now, Paul George, at this point right now, he has really redeemed himself in these playoffs for the way he's been performing in this postseason. Now, last year he took a lot of heat and criticism and being nicknamed as Pandemic P for the way that he basically did not show up in that postseason last year, particularly against the Dallas Mavericks and against the Denver Nuggets. Well, this time around, he's basically turned everything around in this playoff series against the Utah Jazz. Now, heading into Game Five, there was a bit of consensus that the Clippers' run was going to come to an end because Kawhi Leonard has been averaging 30 points a game in the series, and it's very difficult to replace that kind of level of production. But Paul George in the last two ball games, in Game Three, he scored 31 points, and then the same thing in Game Four. But in Game Five yesterday night, he took his game to another level and gave off, shades of the old exciting Paul George from his days with the Indiana Pacers. He scored 37 points, grabbed 16 rebounds, and dished out five assists. And he was not settling for any jump shots at all. He was aggressive. He was assertive offensively. He took charge from the beginning towards the end. And right now, the new nickname is showing up right now that he's turning that Pandemic P around to Playoff P. And I'm very, very, happy for Paul George for the way he's really turned things around, in this series. Now, we knew that the X factor of that entire Clipper one when Kawhi was healthy, that it was going to be on the shoulders of Paul George to show up and provide that level of production necessary to win. But now, you know, after Kawhi Leonard, injured his knee, which is going to force him to miss the entire playoffs. Um, Actually, no, I'm sorry, I take that back. It was supposed to be basically it was a knee sprain. Basically, all the pressure was on you know the Paul George to really step up and really elevate his game to another level. And right now, Paul George is perhaps becoming the most valuable player for the Clippers in this postseason. He basically didn't set up for pull-ups. During that fourth quarter, he answered the call. He answered with big time bucket. He was driving, he was aggressive, and he put his foot on the gas pedal and never let up. And as they did in the first round against the Dallas Mavericks, the Clippers showed something that has never been in their vocabulary in their last few postseasons, and that is resiliency, and it's really fitting in this postseason, especially when they were able to push the Clippers to a 3-2 series lead with a 119 to 111 victory. Now, it was no secret what he was able to do, and he said about it, after the game when he was basically the cornerstone of the franchise with the Pacers. And during that Wednesday night, he looked like the old Paul George that went toe to toe with a prime LeBron James. He said, "And quote, I've been in India where I had to lead a franchise. It was the mindset being back in Indy, having to set the tone and coming out and leading a ball club. That was really the mindset I came out with. It was nothing I had to prove. It was nothing I had to be surprised about myself. I just dug into a place that I've already been already in my career. And again, it just came down to trust. Now, right now, the Clippers right now are on the edge of achieving a feat that they've never seen in the history of their franchise, and that is advancing to the Western Conference Finals. But I'm gonna tell you this so right now, don't count out the Utah Jazz just yet. Unfortunately, last year they're still holding on to the stigma of blowing a 3-1 lead themselves against the Denver Nuggets in their playoffs last year, and so right now the Utah Jazz have to show some resiliency of their own to force the series to a game seven. And they're still going to have to do it without Mike Conley. Now, he ended his hamstring earlier in the playoffs. And right now, unfortunately, according to reports, the hamstring has pretty much had a huge setback. And unfortunately, he's going to need more time to recover, which is at the worst time to happen. Now, Donovan Mitchell also injured his foot in game three. And he basically said in the papers that this series is not over yet. We got a lot of life, like a lot of life left to give, and a lot of juice to give. And we just got to go down there and play with a level of desperation that we have never played before. Otherwise, we'll be going home. Exactly. I definitely agree with the sentiments of Donovan Mitchell. Now it's not like the other guys didn't show up. The Jazz came out of the locker room and they were knocking out anything. Bogan Bogdanovic started the game shooting 6 from 6 from 3-point range, and the Jazz team as a whole shot 10 of 15 from 3-point range in the first quarter and put up 37 points. It was pretty much a brilliant shot making from Bogdanovic. Jordan Clarkson couldn't even miss two. It was pretty much contagious as they put up 65 points in the first half, and they were pretty much smoking. They were hitting everything, but you know, they only led by 5 at the end of the half because the defense that pretty much earned the number one seeding in the entire regular season did not show up until the first 3 quarters. Rudy Gobert even talked about how they didn't start the game playing defense with the right level of desperation with the series side of 2-2. Their transition defense was pretty much trash. Anytime that the Clippers, ran during their fast break, the guys did not get back. I remember watching the game at least 5 times where the Clippers got easy fast break points. And when you look at the stat total of that game itself, when I pulled up the stat total from Game 5 in terms of fast break points, as I pull this up real quick, when you look at the stat total of fast break points, okay, when it came to when it pretty much came out to fast break points, hold on 1 second, just real quick, just real quick. Hold on. I'm gonna have to use basketball reference in this case, so I just got to use this real quick. There we go. Series stats. There you go. Yep, here right here, Game 5. So when you look at the fast break total of the game, here's what it came down. Here's what it came down to. The Utah Jazz did not get back on defense, and the other thing too that really disappointed me was that their defense sunk to a really low level as the game continued to progress on. And so when you look at the stat total of the game, when you look at fast break points compared to you know the uh, the Jazz, as I try to find this real quick, sure, plus minuses, okay. All right. Excuse me 1 second while I try to figure this out because basketball references. Okay. So they were pretty. I can't pretty much find the fast break points, but we'll just continue on. Pretty much as simple as this. They just pretty much outran them and pretty much out hustled the Utah Jazz at every single aspect in the second half. And Paul George set the tone in the game, and everyone else follows suit. So right now, the Clippers are on the cusp of reaching their first ever trip to the Western Conference Finals. And right now, if you're the Utah Jazz, you got to show your own resiliency of your own. I got to be honest with you. These playoffs has been absolutely wild, particularly in the second round. We've had, shocking injuries. One star player, Chris Paul, going to be out due to, testing positive for COVID. We got a shocking sweep by the Phoenix Suns, and now even the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks are now one win away from reaching the Eastern Conference Finals. And right now, the way things are looking right now, and even what happened to the Bucks in Game 5 of how they self-destructed, I mean, I'm telling you, it could go either way tonight. So we're going to see how the Clippers will try to close out the series, and we'll try to see how the Utah Jazz will respond to the challenge that is now laid out in front of them. I mean, their playoff lives are on the line. They were the top best defensive team in the NBA, and they got to prove it for Game 6 tomorrow night. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Congratulations to Paul George on a fantastic performance and really redeeming himself from the failures of last year. And now he's got to do it one more time to get the Clippers to the Western Conference Finals, and then we'll see what happens from there. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. What you guys think of how the Clippers perform in Game 5 and how you've been impressed about Paul George and what he's done this postseason. And I'll be back a little bit later on today with some more videos. And with that, I'm out. Peace.